Hey guys, Abby here. Welcome back to another Outriders video. Today we're going to be talking about the legendary armor sets that they've been showing off on Twitter all this week. We're going to take an in-depth look at the perks and gear sets. I'm going to give you my thoughts. If you enjoy guides and walkthroughs for looter shooters, consider subscribing, hit that bell notification. Now let's get into it. If you're still wondering what Outriders is, you can check the link in the description to my video introing all that good stuff. It launches on April 1st. However, there is going to be a free demo for all players across all platforms on February 25th, so keep your eye out for that. Today we're going to be talking about the legendary gear sets that they've been showing off on Twitter. These are going to help augment the 4 classes: Trickster, Technomancer, Pyromancer, and Devastator. I'm sure there will be more legendary armor in the loot pool. I don't think these are the only 4 sets that we're going to get, but it makes me excited for the future to test out the demo, see what we can find, and then get into it on April 1st. First up, we're going to be taking a look at the Trickster. The legendary armor set here is the Chrono Suit. And the armor mod that they're featuring here is aggressive teleportation. Reverting time creates an explosion. So this is actually the armor mod, the tier 3 armor mod. Each legendary armor piece comes with a tier 3 armor mod that you won't find on any other armor, but similar to the weapons, you can dismantle armor pieces and get those mods in your collection, so then you can put them on other legendary armor pieces. There may be some limitations that are unclear right now, so when we get into the demo, we'll definitely be testing all of that out. But let's take a look at the actual armor pieces here that they shared with us. So the helmet is going to give us that aggressive teleportation mod that they featured in the previous clip, where you create an explosion that does damage to enemies in a range of 8 meters, which is great. But we can also see that the Chrono Suit gear set is something completely different. Reverting time replenishes ammo in your clip. Now, it doesn't say how much ammo, so we don't really know if this is a set percentage, if it's however many bullets. We'll have to test it out when we get our hands on it. But my first impression of the Trickster set that they featured, the gear set bonus doesn't seem as good as some of the other classes, but the tier 3 mods are really where it's at. So we've got aggressive teleportation. Let's take a look at the next one. On the chest piece, we've got a tier 3 that says Death Shell. Killing enemies while borrowed time is active reduces incoming weapon damage by 10% and anomaly damage by 10% for 10 seconds. Buff is removed at the end of the skill, stacks up to 4 times. So this is really going to be a mod you want to use when you're killing ads, not necessarily in a boss fight unless there's ads in the boss fight room. But this is going to be great for clearing ads, getting into the middle of the action, and getting a little bit of that damage reduction built up by killing enemies. And remember, in Outriders, you also get healing when you're damaging enemies, killing enemies, things like that. So it favors an aggressive playstyle. So I really like that they're adding a little bit of damage resistance and tankiness to the Trickster. However, it makes me really curious if there's going to be a glass cannon build that you could do for the Trickster. Taking a look at the legs here, we've got twisted rounds. While that skill is active, your killing shots are going to replenish 20% of ammo in your magazine. So there we got 20%. I would assume that the gear set bonus is going to be higher than that. So I'd be curious to see if this stacks on top of the gear set bonus so that you could do some interesting combos with your twisted round skill and your reverting time and kind of combo those together to never really have to reload. Also, you guys let me know in the comments below, but when they say ammo in your clip for the gear set, does that mean your reserves and then your magazine is your magazine? Or what's going on there? I feel like the wording is a little confusing. Then lastly, we're taking a look at the foot gear. We've got the tier 3 mod Shield of the Fallen. When your twisted rounds skill ends, it adds 15% of your maximum health as shield for each enemy killed by the skill. So this is going to give another layer of protection for the Trickster. So the Trickster isn't really too much of a glass cannon from what we're seeing with this gear set. There could be other gear sets that enable the Trickster to do more damage and give you damage boosts, but right now for this one, it seems like there's a lot of damage mitigation and shields and things like that to help you survive when you're teleporting into all the enemies. All right, next up, we're going to be taking a look at the Devastator, which is the advertised tank class. This is the death-proof legendary armor set. And in this case, they are featuring the gear set bonus here, which is going to reduce the cooldown of your boulder dash by 90%, which is crazy to me because Outriders already has really fast cooldowns. They want it to be an action-packed game. They want you to be using your abilities all the time, weave them in with your gunshots, and just have a fun, crazy PvE experience. But let's take a look at the helmet tier 3 armor bonus. This is going to give us primal weakness, which says permanently reduces resistance of all damaged enemies by 50%. This is while you are in that boulder dash ability. So not only are we getting the cooldown reduction by 90% from the gear bonus, we're also getting a reduction in damage by 50%. This is going to help you tank the enemies for your team. Then looking at the chest armor here, the tier 3 mod increased duration of your reflect bullets is going to increase your skills duration by 40%, which is huge and another way to tank damage for your team. The leg armor for this set is going to give us the tier 3 mod Not Impressed, reduces the damage taken from elites by 20%. This is going to help in those higher world tiers, another reduction to damage. It seems like the Devastator is just going to be a straight up tank with this gear set. And then finally, we've got Life of the Party on the foot gear. Incoming damage is reduced by 5% for each enemy in close range, stacks up to 8 times. So that's really going to be promoting a close range playstyle for the Devastator. And also, I just want to mention here, there are gloves that go with all of these gear sets. However, they stated on Twitter that you can only add 4 images per tweet. So they went with 4 images. So we'll have to see what that extra 5th gear piece has for the tier 3 mods, but that's going to do it for Devastator. Next up, we're taking a look at the Pyromancer, the reforged legendary armor set. The featured mod here is going to be called Double Fun. Thermal bomb affects 2 targets. Now this is the tier 3 mod, which I think could be really impactful. Hopefully that thermal bomb does a lot of damage. So when you're inflicting it on 2 enemies, you are doubling the damage, doubling the spread of the fire, which is going to in turn do more damage, mark more enemies, help heal you as the Pyromancer, and just contribute to your overall kit. So let's look at the helmet. The actual gear set for the reforged armor is increases Feed the Flames damage and thermal bomb damage by 50%. Now that is excellent and goes with that tier 3 mod perfectly, where you're increasing the damage by 50%. You're also increasing the number of enemies that it can affect. On the chest piece, we're going to be getting a tier 3 mod called Branded. Enemies affected by the skill Thermal Bomb receive 40% more damage. So this is going to be great on the tankier enemies, allowing you to do more damage to those enemies. I assume this means that your teammates will also do 40% more damage, which is great. This promotes a lot more team play where you are debuffing the enemy, they're doing more damage to them, everybody is doing more damage. Then we've got your lower armor, which is Flame Grasper, enables absorption of 2 additional targets. So that's going to be for your Feed the Flames skill. And the gear set bonus is increasing the Feed the Flames damage. So not only are you absorbing 2 additional targets, you are also increasing the damage overall of that skill. So all of these are synergizing really well together. We've got the Boots tier 3 mod, which says boost your anomaly power by 192 for each elite present on the battlefield. So that's really going to help in the higher world tiers where we're going to be seeing a lot of elite enemies. And just a side note, does anyone else think that these boots look like Crocs? Alright, so that is it for the Pyromancer. Now let's get into my favorite class, the class that I am going to be playing on release. Of course, in the demo, I'm probably just going to make all of them and see what I think, but we are talking about the Technomancer, the legendary armor set Torrential Downpour. And they're featuring a tier 3 mod here where you can use up to 6 mines at once before cooldown, which is actually insane, and I think will be one of my target armor pieces that I'm going to try to get here. So let's take a look. The helmet gives us Breathe In as the tier 3 armor mod, which gives us Fixing Wave, reduces the skill's cooldown by 20%. This is the healing skill for the Technomancer to heal their entire team. It's a great support skill, so reducing that skill cooldown by 20% is huge. And then we can see the actual gear set bonus here is Scrapnel creates additional cluster bombs after explosions. So not only are you going to be able to stack your explosive mines up to 6, but you're also going to be creating additional cluster bombs off of those bombs. So it's just a crazy amount of explosions going on at once. And then we take a look at the chest armor. The tier 3 mod is called Trap Cluster, doubles the number of mines that can be thrown before triggering the cooldown. This mod is going to allow you to get up to the total of 6 that they're talking about in the beginning there. Taking a look at the lower armor, the tier 3 mod here is reviving an ally also fully restores their health. So this is key for a support Technomancer build. And then we actually have the gloves for this Technomancer set, the full 5-piece here. The tier 3 mod is Anomaly Echo, grants firepower and anomaly power bonus on skill activation for 15 seconds. So this is just going to give you that bonus boost of damage for the Technomancer. Even if you're using a skill that's healing your allies, you're going to get a bonus to your firepower and anomaly power. I also really love that because it's a little more general, so you can use really any skill you want and get a bonus regardless. And then lastly, we have the foot gear. The tier 3 mod on here is called Quartermaster. Activating the skill Fixing Wave, which is the heal skill, replenishes 1 weapon magazine for each ally, cooldown of 45 seconds. So this is going to help keep your allies up, healthy, and have ammo in their guns ready to shoot. But I just really love how the Technomancer looks, the skills that they have, the turrets, the mines, the healing. It all fits so well into my playstyle, which is why I say that I'm probably going to be playing Technomancer straight off the bat. What classes are you guys planning on playing for the demo and or for the release on April 1st? Let me know down in the comments below, and which gear set really kind of piqued your interest. That's going to do it for the video today. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.